Coming up on CBC Vancouver News.
It appears to be electrical. That's the nature of our investigation right now.
Multiple students on a field trip seriously injured at a Fraser Valley water park. Plus,
what I want to see is action. I want somebody to do something and not just monitor.
a rural community near Pemberton frustrated as the threat of flooding creeps closer. And
it's amazing. This is my home.
I just want to enjoy the moment. I don't want to think too deep into it.
Team Canada arrives in BC ahead of its World Cup matchup with Qatar.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Janella Hamilton. We begin in Chilliwack, where Mounties say 12 kids have been seriously injured after an electrical incident at a water park in Cultus Lake. The Coquitlam School District has confirmed most of those injured are grade 6 and 7 students who were at the park for a field trip. I spoke with our Benit Brach earlier.
Well, Janelle, still a number of questions about what exactly led up to those injuries, but I just want to take a moment to show you the scene right now. So there are a number of crews that are back there. There's some caution tape that's been set up in this particular side of the water park. Now, we did hear from BCRCMP today. They confirmed that a total of 12 people were sent to the hospital. They say that they are reported to be in stable condition but have serious injuries. Police say that they responded at 11:20 this morning. BCEHS says that several ambulances responded, which included 2 air ambulances that responded to patients. And I remember when I drove in here hearing one of those helicopters leaving the scene here as well. Coming in, there was a bit of traffic in this area as well. I spent some time just speaking to people who were out here, people who work in the shops nearby, and I heard that a bit of a chaotic scene this morning with the number of ambulances that responded, hearing those helicopters, but people really hoping that anyone who was injured, that they recover soon, Janella.
Now, Benit, what are we still waiting to find out? What are next steps in the investigation?
Well, I think the major question right now is what exactly happened that led up to those injuries. So earlier today, we just actually now received a response from BC Hydro, and they said that after an initial investigation, crews have identified that the electrical issue originated on the customer side of the electrical service rather than within its own infrastructure or equipment. Now, it says safety is a key priority, that it is working to support this investigation. It is working with the water park. We did reach out to the water park, but did not get a response from them today. WorkSafe BC also says that no workers were injured, that they say that then an officer is here today looking into what has happened here, investigating that as well. And we understand that there were some field trips that were happening, because when I arrived today, I saw a number of school buses that were here, lots of students and youth that were being picked up as well. So still, a bit of the early stages here, so lots of questions, but that so far is the latest on what we have that unfolded here at the water park today, Janella.
Cultus Lake Waterpark has since said the kids were touching a railing when the electrical incident happened. The water park will be closed for at least 2 days while they investigate. The clock continues to tick on as to when a glacier lake will burst. Homeowners in a small community northwest of Pemberton are facing the threat of flooding and have been on evacuation alert for about a week now. Alana Kelly spoke with residents who are on edge.
It was probably about here, coming over top.
A massive threat looms over their properties.
We're just waiting, and it's going to happen, and we're going to get flooded again.
For the 3rd year in a row, these residents in a remote area northwest of Pemberton are preparing for a glacial lake to burst.
It's a roar and sounds like a heavy wind. It's unnerving.
They are from 2 of 24 properties on evacuation alert. At any moment, their homes can be flooded as Place Glacier is melting into the lake. Research scientists are watching, but it's difficult to predict exactly when it will drain or spill over.
We know that it's very likely to drain once that water reaches its maximum height where it can overcome the pressure of the glacier downstream. It might drain before that, and that's uncertain.
Don Coggin says not enough is being done.
What I want to see is action. I want somebody to do something and not just monitor. Anything would be better than nothing.
This year, the district is strengthening an embankment to keep the floodwater out of Gates Lake, protecting some properties but directing it into Pool Creek, the same creek that's flooded other properties for 2 years in a row.
In the previous floods, half of the water went towards Gates Lake, and if it all comes this way, I'll be standing in 6 or 8 feet of water. So what they're doing is making it worse for us.
The residents say there are 4 things that could be done. Number 1, they want the Glacier Lake drained. Number 2, when the water comes down, they want a barrier to make sure that it is equally divided between Gates Lake and Pool Creek. Number 3, they want Pool Creek to be dredged. And lastly, they want the culvert to be widened. They say none of this is being done.
No room for the water. It's going to go where it's going to go. And that's going to flood our yard, our farmland, our pasture for our cows, and probably our house.
The province says it has reimbursed the regional district for nearly $450,000 in emergency work and mitigation. When it comes to draining the lake, it says explosives could generate unforeseen geotechnical impacts in high alpine terrain and will not fund it.
I would like to see them solve the problem at its source. Find a way so that the lake doesn't build up and doesn't all drain at once.
The regional district is asking the province to include these residents in the Disaster Financial Assistance Program.
We would love for that to be extended to communities where landslides are the impact. This is a canary in the coal mine situation.
As what's happening here in this small community could be a sign of what's to come for others in the province. Alana Kelly, CBC News, Bergen.
One man is in hospital and a woman is missing after a house fire in Mission. Police say crews responded to a home on fire on Township Line Avenue between Clay Street and Keystone Avenue just after 8 Monday morning. They say a 69-year-old man was airlifted to hospital with serious burns. A 46-year-old woman who is believed to have been inside during the fire is still missing. The fire is not believed to be suspicious. An Indian national convicted of carrying out a fiery attack at the Victoria area home of Punjabi musician A.P. Dillon has been issued a deportation order. Immigration officials say Abjit Kingra's role in firing 14 rounds into Dillon's house and lighting his vehicles on fire helped the Bishnoi gang gain a foothold in communities from Ontario to BC. The deportation order will likely not be enforced until Kingra finishes serving a 6-year sentence for arson and firearm charges in relation to the attacks. Kingra claims the Bishnoi gang has threatened to kill him if he returns to India, and he intends to appeal the order in federal court. The BC government says they are seriously considering building 2 new hydroelectric dams to ensure BC can meet rising energy demands.
Our plan for the clean energy future we all want is straightforward and bold. Our Powering Growth strategy is a long-term, forward-looking approach to meet rising demand and grow our economy while also keeping electricity affordable for people.
BC Hydro says demand is expected to grow 20% by 2030 and 50% by 2050. The Site E Dam would be at the confluence of the Peace and the Elsie's rivers near the Alberta border. Dix says the province is also looking at building a large hydroelectricity dam at the head of Butte Inlet. Meanwhile, the province is looking for local bidders to complete construction on the Massey Tunnel replacement project after terminating its agreement with Cross Fraser Partnership. Farnworth says the province and the company could not reach an agreement around final construction. The 8-lane tunnel project will replace the aging George Massey Tunnel. Team Canada is practicing in Vancouver ahead of its World Cup matchup on Thursday. It will be one of at least 2 games the team plays here. As John Hernandez reports, there are a handful of players with ties to BC on the team who say they are taking in the whole experience.
It's a light mood to start the first practice of the week for Team Canada, but all of these players know what's at stake come Thursday.
in camp we're solely focused on winning games and putting the best foot forward for this country.
Players took to the pitch at their UBC training center, having already caught a glimpse of FIFA fever in Vancouver. Surrey-born Joel Waterman is among players who are close to home.
I'm only an hour from my hometown, and this is obviously the province where I'm from, and I have immense pride in representing those people that are from here and in those communities.
For 22-year-old Nico Seeger, Thursday's game will be a full circle moment. The Burnaby-born player worked as a Team Canada ball boy at BC Place in 2019.
I just want to enjoy the moment. I don't want to think too deep into it. It's a stadium I grew up going to, watching the Whitecaps.
And there are also Whitecaps alumni on the team. Ali Ahmed was a big part of the soccer club's historic 2025 season.
This is my home. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this building, if it wasn't for Whitecaps, if it wasn't for this city.
Saturday's massive World Cup crowds are likely a sign of what's to come when Team Canada plays Qatar on Thursday. TransLink says SkyTrain ridership to BC Place was the busiest it's been since the Olympics, while fans flooded pedestrian plazas like the Granville Strip. These players eager to see Canadian colors take over.
You know, we love seeing our fans and the streets filled and Canadian red jerseys everywhere. That's what we want out of this country, and that's what we're kind of building this for.
As it stands right now, all of the teams in Canada's group are tied in the standings, which makes a win on Thursday just that much more important if the team wants to move on in the tournament. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
An important aircraft for Canada's military will continue to be maintained in Abbotsford thanks to a recent defense contract extension. The CBC's Keir Junos has more.
This is the CC-130J Super Hercules, often described as a workhorse for the Canadian military and search and rescue operations. As you can see, this one is under maintenance. Abbotsford's Cascade Aerospace is responsible for all of the heavy maintenance, and they're going to be upgrading and maintaining the fleet for the next few years.
In May, the federal government extended a contract with Lockheed Martin for about $1.1 billion to maintain and upgrade the J fleet into 2029. Some of that funding spent right here in Abbotsford.
This work will help support good-paying jobs within our community.
This aircraft will replace the military's H-model fleet, retiring this year.
And the upgraded engines and propellers on this basically give you the difference between the C-130H model and the J model. So, you know, it's got a Rolls-Royce engine in and now a 6-bladed composite propeller instead of the 4-bladed.
These are Rolls-Royce engines in
Yes,
there?
they are.
Okay, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't
there you
know
go.
that. And the thing is, I hear that this thing's quite athletic. Short runways, dirt runways.
Yeah.
It can kind of do it all.
Yeah. Yeah, it can go into remote airstrips, you know, and depending on what loads they have on board, they can get out of there pretty quick too.
While the outside has stayed mostly the same since the 50s, the inside is digitized.
It self-diagnoses itself continually when it's up and running, so you can tell where faults are because it will tell you itself.
The Hercules has seen a variety of deployments across the world. Its primary purpose, tactical airlift. Here in BC, it dropped off troops in Abbotsford during devastating flooding in 2021. It has also been converted for wildfire operations. The investment comes during a time when the government is trying to reach new NATO defense spending targets, 5% of GDP by 2035.
Prior to this government, I think our best was 1.2% GDP. With promises of going higher. So this is significant, the amount of money that's being spent.
And this is going to open up more opportunity than we've seen in the past for sure.
Keeping this big plane flying is just one part of a bigger Canadian defense strategy. Keir Junos, CBC News, Abbotsford.
Steve Jung joins us now with a first look at our weather. Steve?
Janella, it was certainly a bit of a muggy one, at least here on the south coast, and part of that is because of the cloud cover that we had. It was a cold system, a cold front that made its way here, but because the atmosphere was so dry, it didn't bring much in the way of rain, but it did lock in the humidity and moisture, and that's what led to some of those muggier conditions. And over the last day or so, we really didn't get much in the way of rain around the province. What we did get was mostly scattered over the south and southeastern part of the province and some over Vancouver Island as well. But as we look over the next couple of days, it's really going to be pretty scattered. The showers that we do get will not be too widespread, but we'll get into that coming up later in the show.
Thanks so much, Steve.
My pleasure.
Coming up, we take you to Kelowna, where thousands of residents will be losing door-to-door mail delivery. That's next. It's been a weekend of no swimming at Sunset Beach, and as Michelle Gomez reports, the reason for the closure points to several potential factors.
Since Friday, swimmers have been advised to avoid the water at Sunset Beach.
I usually try not to think about it too much, and so when things actually get closed, it forces me to re-examine what the water situation really is.
Christine Baker is an avid open water swimmer. For her, beach closures due to E. coli are a reminder that the water is a shared space.
The city is really making an effort to make sure that our water is clean, but we have a lot of uses for that water, and many of them do not always result in the cleanest water.
Animal droppings, boats releasing effluent, and sewage overflow resulting from heavy rains. These are the main culprits for high E. coli levels, according to Vancouver Coastal Health.
All of these different influences can be at play, and it can be very hard to pinpoint exactly what's causing something. Almost all of our beaches have all of these things potentially contaminating the water.
Baker says she would like to see more done to keep the water clean.
There's so many more boats docking all along our beaches right now. And so it would be nice if there were better enforcement of regulations about what they have to do with their waste.
Schwant is encouraging boaters to use the city's sewage pump outs.
Unfortunately, some boats likely do dump waste into the waters. This is water that we all enjoy for recreational purposes, and the contamination, even though it seems like a vast space, actually it can be quite impactful on the local beaches.
He says there are 4 other beaches that have also had elevated E. coli levels recently. Third Beach, English Bay, Locarno Beach, and Trout Lake are not closed to swimming, but the health authority is monitoring them closely. Michelle Gomez, CBC News, Vancouver.
Canada Post says nearly 500,000 addresses will lose home delivery over the next 5 years, including more than a dozen communities in BC. Kimberly Davidson explains.
Luke Alcock is just finishing up a delivery route for Canada Post in a North Kelowna neighborhood. He doesn't know if he'll still be delivering here next year after the company announced it's cutting back on door-to-door service.
I think it's pretty black and white that the corporation itself has to make some fairly serious changes.
Kelowna is one of 37 communities and almost 500,000 homes learning they will lose at-home mail delivery service in 2027. The company says the service will be a thing of the past within the next 5 years. Reaction to the news that people will soon have to make their way to a community mailbox to collect their letters and bills is mixed here.
There's risks with the boxes that get broken into and stuff. So, I mean, you know, just something I wouldn't mind if it was only a couple days a week, but to completely sever it off seems, hard.
I mean, I grew up with like a community mailbox, like the big thing that you had to like drive to. I mean, wasn't that bad?
I don't mind. I mean, most of the mail I get isn't too important, so I feel like it'll save a lot of time and it won't really impact my life.
Over in Kelowna's Glenmore neighborhood, Sheldon Woodcock takes a trip to his community mailbox to see what's inside. He says he can't remember the last time he had mail delivered to his house.
I didn't really care for it when they first came out, but, I guess you get used to the same things, after a period of time. I mean, I don't live that far away. It gets me out of the house and go for a walk, take my dog for a walk.
Canada Post says the move is a cost-saving measure after suffering almost $1.6 billion in losses in 2025. Kimberly Davidson, CBC News, Kelowna.
The union representing Metro Vancouver outdoor workers says its full-scale strike is over, but job action is ongoing. Greater Vancouver Regional District's outside workers provide services including water, sewage, and park maintenance. The roughly 700 workers have been without a contract for 17 months. Greater Vancouver Regional District Employees Union says restricted service hours will remain for regional parks. An overcast morning in Port Alberni as 2 massive cranes move into the port. The hot and sunny weather is set to return. Steve Jung has our forecast next. U.S. President Donald Trump says a peace deal with Iran has been signed. He says the Strait of Hormuz will be open by Friday. The CBC's Katie Nicholson looks at what's known and not known about the agreement so far.
A digital memorandum of understanding has been signed by the U.S. president, his vice president, and Iran's parliamentary speaker. But what's in it remains a mystery. Though Donald Trump says it will be publicly released sometime after Friday. That's the day a signing ceremony has been set in Switzerland. Both Iran and the U.S. have publicly revealed some of the terms of this first step toward peace. The immediate cessation of military engagement. The U.S. will pull back its naval blockade of Iranian ports, and the Strait of Hormuz will reopen once it's been cleared of sea mines. Trump also insists it includes provisions to nix Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons.
The main thing is that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. They fully agreed to that with strong policing powers, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, which is what it was all about, because they probably would have used it if they had it.
Trump addressed whether sanctions on Iran would be eased. He said that would be tied to Iran's behavior going forward in the process. Technical talks are underway in Doha ahead of Friday's signing, but there's still the thorny issue of Israel and Hezbollah's continued tensions. Israel has said it won't pull its troops from Lebanon, and Hezbollah has said it won't accept any attacks that violate Lebanon's sovereignty or target its people.
We do want to see if we can straighten out the Lebanon thing, because it just seems to just never end. And that's a mini version of what we were doing, and it should not be tough. It should not be tough. So Hezbollah, we have to have a little talk with them.
Israel and Hezbollah have previously ignored the U.S. president's demands they stop firing on each other throughout this conflict. There are fears provocations on either side could threaten this deal before it gets signed on Friday. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
Iran's national men's team is set to debut at the World Cup against New Zealand in Los Angeles. But as Lindsay Duncombe explains, their arrival has raised tensions within the city's large Iranian diaspora.
There is anticipation and tension ahead of Iran's match here at the World Cup in Los Angeles. We are expecting protests and supporters for the Iranian national team. It's estimated there are more than 200,000 Iranian Americans living in and around Los Angeles, and feelings about the team are mixed. The Iranian national team, known as Team Melli, trained near their California hotel on Sunday. It has been a long road to get here. Domestic league play was canceled because of the war. They had to move their base camp from Arizona to Mexico, and some staff were denied visas to attend games. Striker Mehdi Taremi said pre-tournament tensions meant the spirit, excitement, and enthusiasm people associate with the World Cup can be lost. There have been widespread anti-regime protests all across Los Angeles since the war began. FIFA doesn't allow political symbols in the stands. Protesters want to bring this sun and moon flag, a symbol of the Iranian monarchy, into the stadium. If that happens, the Iran team says it will stop the match. But many seem keen to put politics aside and enjoy the game. American fans we spoke to welcome the team despite the tension.
How do you feel about the Iran game? Iran coming here to play?
Oh, I don't care. You know, we're all part of this world. It doesn't matter to me if they're from Iran, Iraq, whatever. You know, we're all here.
I think it is really complicated. I think it's nice that we have sports as a way to try to bring us together, and I think there is a lot that is really hard happening right now.
We are the country of immigrants, so it's a thing. I mean, all of our families were immigrants at one time. We're not Native Americans, so we have to be realistic. Come one, come all.
And as tense as this match could be, things could get even more dramatic. If both the United States and Iran finish second in their groups, it could mean they would face each other in the next stage. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Los Angeles.
The agreement between the U.S. and Iran is at the top of the agenda at the G7 summit in France. Leaders, including Prime Minister Mark Carney, are meeting there this week. The CBC's David Cochran is there and sends us this report.
In the days leading up to this summit, the Prime Minister said the outcome of the peace talks between the U.S. and Iran would shape the direction of the G7. As he boarded his plane to leave Ireland, Mark Carney said the goal is to make this agreement as durable as possible.
We'll have an opportunity starting from tonight at the G7 in Evian to see what we and other countries can do to help reinforce this important progress that's been made.
Nous allons tout faire d'abord pour que cet accord soit une réalité.
We will do everything we can to ensure that this agreement becomes a reality, says French President and summit host Emmanuel Macron. All of the countries gathering here have suffered from the economic shocks this conflict has unleashed. It's flatlined growth and fueled inflation.
We have long called for de-escalation, and it is vital that all parties seize this opportunity to secure stability in the region.
But so much of what happens next depends so much on one man.
Everything is very nice, thank you.
U.S. President Donald Trump has boasted of an imminent deal dozens of times in the past, but this time seems more solid. Canada's specific commitments to an enduring peace are at this point unknown, though in the past there have been suggestions of maritime support and intelligence sharing.
The priority now is implementation. The Straits of Hormuz must reopen and freedom of navigation must be restored, toll-free.
This peace deal is still just preliminary. The tough conversations about Iran's nuclear program left for the future. But this framework at least gives the G7 leaders a window of opportunity to help make it more durable and stabilize the global economy. David Cochran, CBC News, La Chapelle d'Abondance, France.
New federal data reveals e-scooter injuries requiring hospitalization are surging among young people under the age of 17. The Canadian Hospital's Injury Reporting and Prevention Program says the number has more than doubled at BC Children's Hospital. In the last year, 81 young patients were admitted for e-scooter injuries. The year before was just 37. Nearly all were male. About half of those cases involved kids between 13 and 15 years old. Only half reported wearing a helmet, while more than half said they were speeding. Dr. Shalina Baboul joins us now from BC Children's Hospital. Dr. Baboul, what are you seeing when it comes to hospital visits and e-scooter injuries?
Well, we've definitely seen an uptick. In 2024-25, we had about 37 incidents, people that visited the emergency department. And in the past year, 25-26, we see that number go up to 81. So they're definitely going up, but those are absolute numbers.
And those are injuries among younger people, older people?
So those are, the BC Children's Hospital CHIRP data is for children under the age of 17. But of those that we saw at BC Children's Hospital, 54% were those between the ages of 13 and 15 years coming to the emergency department with injuries. And our legislation is that you should not be riding an e-scooter under the age of 16.
So why do you believe there is an uptick in reported injuries?
Well, I think people need to understand that e-scooters can be very dangerous unless you take the necessary safety precautions. You should only be a single rider when riding an e-scooter. You should familiarize yourself. You should know, based on your municipality, where you're allowed to ride. You should be wearing a helmet. Your e-scooter should have a bell to inform others that you are riding near them. And you need to really heed the warnings and ride within the speed limit, which is 25 kilometers or under. We saw over 50% of those exceeding those speed limits showing up at the emergency department.
So keeping that in mind when you talk about speed, when you talk about maybe not wearing a helmet, as a doctor, as a healthcare professional, what are you most worried about when you see this trend going up and up and up?
Well, I think speed is the biggest factor, and not wearing a helmet. Just yesterday I was driving and I saw someone on their e-scooter with their helmet in their backpack. So, I mean, no pun intended, but you know, if you fall not wearing a helmet, what's going to take the brunt of the fall, your head or the helmet? And in those cases that we saw, the 81%, 17% of those were concussions. We're also seeing fractures, bruising, abrasions, but it's really important that people familiarize themselves when riding an e-scooter, ride within the speed limit, and know the preventative measures to take.
Of course, the faster you go, I can only assume the injuries are going to possibly be even worse. So what are reactions from parents who come in with their kids when these injuries are happening? Do they realize how dangerous e-scooters can really be and the injuries that these kids are getting from riding scooters?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of parents recognize that or understand that you should not be riding an e-scooter under the age of 16 years of age. So they really, and that they should be riding within these, the regulations around the speeds. So, you know, we have manufacturers selling e-scooters that travel at higher speeds, and we want parents to know that that is illegal. They should not be doing that. They should not be riding an e-scooter, an electric e-scooter, under the age of 16. And if they are still going to do it, have conversations with them to let them know of what preventative measures and what safety precautions they can take so that they don't end up in the emergency department.
Because these injuries can be quite serious, right?
So we've seen the injuries that we see at BC Children's Hospital are primarily fractures, concussions, bruising, and abrasions. There have been severe injuries seen at the trauma departments. In 2021, we saw about 5 very severe injuries, and in 2025, that number went up to 15. So, and that was 12 to 14-year-olds riding the e-scooters. So, you know, the mechanics around an e-scooter are very different than an e-bike or a push scooter or a pedal bike. With the small wheels, there's a tendency you're prone to falling if the wheels go over a crack or a rock or debris, and they will likely fall forward, not sideways. So you really want them to get a bit more experience if they are going to ride an e-scooter. You know, when kids are little, they learn how to ride a bike, they take pedal heads or programs to ride safely. And so similar to e-scooters, kids need to really understand how to ride properly and the safety around riding an e-scooter.
Some very important reminders there. Thank you so much. That's Dr. Shalina Baboul from BC Children's Hospital.
Thank you very much.
After nearly a century, a member of a First Nation in Prince George is bringing home his ancestors' cultural artifacts. That's next. Stay with us. The first urban reserve in northeastern BC is now officially open in Fort St. John. The development marks a new history in the region's history, new chapter in the region's history, which historically saw the First Nation pushed away from this growing city and its economy. Matt Preprost has more.
The snip of a beaded ribbon, marking a historic milestone for the Doig River First Nation. Notche Commons is the first urban reserve in northeast BC.
One of our elders said, it's like coming back home. We've been here in Fort St. John all our lives, and we haven't never built, and this is a dream come true for all of us.
Doig River is about 70 kilometers north of Fort St. John. Historically, the First Nation was displaced as settlers moved in and the city grew.
You know, years ago when we started this, it was only a dream. We didn't have anything. We were one of the poorest nation around.
Notche Commons now brings Doig River into the city's economy through federally recognized reserve land, creating space for Indigenous business and cultural development.
Notche Commons means dreamer. Everything we do is done as our people. We listen to our dreamer stories, and that's how we continue forward. We really want to be self-sufficient, and Notche Commons is the first step for being self-sufficient.
Hundreds turned out to celebrate the grand opening, visitors lining up for fresh bannock at a new cafe, a new gas station ready to fuel up travelers, and a showpiece mural chronicling the history of Doig River and the Denizah Indigenous people.
I never, 60 years ago, never would expect anything like this. How I feel, it's very, very hard to describe. So much emotion that's sitting in here now.
It's groundbreaking. Fort St. John is really fortunate to have that interest from developers, including First Nations, that they want to invest in Fort St. John. They see the potential that we have here, the growth, and I believe it's because of the initiatives that we are doing, whether it's infrastructure or just being a welcoming community, that is helping us to thrive.
Doig River has several parcels of reserve land in and around the city, and Notche Commons is only phase one of its vision for this site.
The next phase is going to be whatever the community wants to see. They want to see health support, they want to see retail stores, they want to see a one-stop shop.
Matt Preprost, CBC News, Fort St. John.
A member of the Claytley 10A First Nation in Prince George has brought home his ancestors' cultural artifacts from the Royal BC Museum after nearly 100 years in its collection. The CBC's Hannah Peterson reports.
It's been a long time coming, and it's great to hold something that one of my ancestors have held.
This small stone spear, stone adze, stone scraper, and these traditional snowshoes were all acquired by the Royal BC Museum in Victoria in 1930. They have now returned home to Joshua Seymour, his family, and the Claytley 10A First Nation.
When I told my son, who came with me, to pick up the items in Victoria, I told him they belonged to his great uncle, which shows that long lineage.
The artifacts will be cared for at the exploration place, but remain accessible for Claytley community members and the public.
A lot of the time, these objects came to those museums under pretty shady circumstances, and thankfully that is starting to be righted.
Seymour says he used his experience as a former museum curator at the exploration place in Prince George to get these items returned for his community and his family.
And it was my great auntie Violet who did discuss the snowshoes, and she always discussed how the snowshoes were made so intricate, and she remembers the beautiful patterns, and that kind of put me down this path to hopefully bring the artifacts home.
The Seymour family has also partnered with the exploration place to develop a grade 4 social studies unit centered on the artifacts and the history of the Claytley 10A people.
We realize that these artifacts can fulfill a certain commitment that's needed within the local curriculum, and this is the first step to really giving the students that true understanding, and hopefully one day to find more artifacts like this for the nation.
Hannah Peterson, CBC News, Prince George.
Steve Jung is back with another look at our weather, starting off with a BC-wide forecast. Steve?
Janella, we're really not going to get a whole ton of rain over the next couple of days, as we can see in the forecast over Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, we will see in the forecast some showers coming over much of the province, but very scattered in nature. And when we get to Thursday, we'll see more amounts of precipitation making its way to the northern part of the province, but it's more or less contained there, and it'll miss the central and southern parts of BC, which is not actually that great as we look at the fire danger for the province right now. This is the latest information we have from the BC Wildfire Service. If we look at Vancouver Island, parts of the southern interior, the south coast, as well as the parts of the Cariboo, and up here to the central coast of BC, moderate to high fire danger. That's trending upwards compared to just a few days ago when it was actually going the other way. It was trending down. And if we look at parts of the southeast, this is trending upwards as well. It was very low to low just a few days ago, and it's now low to moderate. And we're seeing moderate to high fire danger up in the northeast as well. Tonight, we're also expecting some higher winds around the south coast of BC, including Vancouver Island. And if we look around Victoria, some winds of about 80 kilometers an hour are in the forecast. So that has led to a coastal flood warning. If you're around Victoria, keep that in mind. Higher tides, as well as those high winds and waves, that's leading to that risk of flooding in those coastal areas. But that should start tapering off as we get to the early hours of Tuesday morning. Tonight, expect cloud cover over much of the province. And we're seeing a chance of some showers over on the north coast, central coast, as well as central BC and over here in Golden. A slight chance of some drizzles into Fino. Temperatures for the most part in the low to mid-teens and we're expecting on the south coast that cloud cover to start clearing up as we get a little bit closer to the midweek point. Let's take a look at conditions for the south coast tomorrow. Temperatures in the low to mid-20s. We'll see a mix of sun and cloud over much of the area, 31 degrees in Lytton, and note that chance of showers in Port Hardy and into Fino. But as we get to the 5-day forecast here in Metro Vancouver, let's take a look at that mix of sun and cloud over Tuesday and Wednesday. And as we get to the last part of the week, we'll see some clearing skies. Temperatures start heating up a little bit on Friday at 25 degrees, 24 degrees for Saturday. And that's what it's looking like as we approach the next upcoming weekend.
All right, I am preparing for some more heat. Thanks so much, Steve.
My pleasure.
You may say soccer, I say football. The difference in terms probably doesn't mean we have to call the whole FIFA thing off, but it's definitely worth explaining why when we return.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and this is your CBC Inbox.
CBC is the exclusive media partner of the Indian Summer Festival, running July 9th to 19th. This year's theme, Ragas for a Ruptured World, is a call to artistic expression and creative defiance. And CBC Home Pitch is your ultimate free pre-match destination. We've transformed the CBC Outdoor Plaza into the ultimate hub, featuring music, prizes, and global flavors. Full schedule at cbc.ca/homepitch.
With FIFA World Cup festivities in full swing, BC health authorities are asking people to think about alcohol differently.
Our Janella Hamilton has more on a new provincial awareness campaign.
From sporting events and game day celebrations to social media and billboard ads, alcohol is deeply embedded in our everyday environment. That's the message behind Under the Influence, a new provincial awareness campaign involving local and First Nation health authorities.
The idea is to really give people that chance to kind of stop and think about all the influences that come up in their life.
We really want people to start challenging why alcohol is showing up in those moments and if it's appropriate.
They say large events like the FIFA World Cup increases exposure to alcohol harm through sponsorships, advertisements, and with many watch parties taking place in bars and restaurants.
We wanted to show people how much they're seeing it every day and how normal it is to come to the watch party and of course there's alcohol, or how the ads are showing up everywhere and how everybody is associating watching, going to these events with alcohol.
First responders in BC say they are bracing for a surge in alcohol-related calls during the World Cup due to mass gatherings, summer heat, and illicit drugs. So we asked people in Vancouver if they'll be watching their alcohol consumption during the games.
Actually, we don't drink. We don't drink a bit that. But most of it, some of my friends is always drinking.
Just, alcohol consumption, yeah.
Just here to party.
Yeah.
Here to party.
It's a very amazing event, and then alcohol, makes it better, but we have to keep it under control.
Despite alcohol consumption now dropping to a 20-year low, the province says British Columbians still drink more than the national average, nearly 9 drinks a week. BC's top doctor has said officials are looking at developing a provincial health strategy and making health warning labels a requirement on all alcoholic beverages, similar to what is already on cigarette and vape packaging.
We are showing evidence in this province and across Canada that young people are drinking less. We are seeing an increase of alcohol beverages that don't have alcohol in it. So I think the conversation is starting to change.
The ads will run across BC until the end of June. Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Vancouver.
Well, is it the FIFA World Cup of football?
Or the World Cup of soccer?
Our Lawrence Watt broke down why the sport has a different name in North America versus Europe.
Well, in our last video about the World Cup, you had thoughts, strong thoughts. So is it soccer or is it football? And where does the term soccer actually come from?
The word was coined in Oxford sometime in the 1880s.
Yes, in 1800s Britain, there were different kinds of football. One was rugby football, the other was association football, like the type played at the World Cup. At Oxford, students had a habit of turning words into nicknames. Rugby football became rugger, but association football was more complicated. According to Szymanski, students took the middle letters of association, sock, and added ER at the end. And so, association football became soccer. The word was used in Britain for much of the 20th century, but then something else happened. In places where other sports were already called football, like Canada, the US, Australia, and Ireland, soccer actually helped people know which game you meant. For example, in Ireland, you have Gaelic football, and in the US and Canada, you have the type of football where the ball spends more time in your hands. So soccer had gone from slang to being something useful, and in countries where it had a purpose, it stuck, including Australia, where the official nickname for the men's national team is Socceroos. But in Britain, the word fell out of use. Rugby football became rugby, and association football became just football. So what's the issue?
On its face, a completely pointless argument. Americans have been calling it soccer for more than a century. They have another game they play called football. They're never going to change this, so no amount of whining is going to change that. It tells you something more about relations between the United States and Britain and even other parts of the world.
So yes, football is the name used by most of the world, but soccer is not wrong. It's an old British nickname with a global history.
I'm sticking with soccer.
But now I know the history. Very useful. Thanks for being with us tonight on CBC Vancouver News. To keep up to date with all the latest news, you can download our free CBC Gem app and visit our website at cbc.ca/bc.
I'll have your next local news at 11 o'clock right after the National. We'll see you next time.